Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Earth Song by Langston Hughes.
It's an earth song, and
It's an
I've
earth
been
song,
waiting
and I've been waiting long
for an earth
song.
It's a spring song. I've been
It's a
waiting
spring song.
long
I've been
for
waiting
a
long
spring
for a spring song.
Strong as the bursting of young buds.
Strong as the bursting of young
Strong
buds.
as the shoots of a new plant.
Strong as the shoots of a new plant.
Strong as the coming of the first child
from its
mother's womb.
An earth song,
a
body
song,
a spring song,
and I've been waiting long for an earth song.
And I've been waiting long for an earth song. Please recite with me our shared affirmation of mission. This fellowship is a welcoming, diverse, and nurturing beloved community that promotes progressive religious thought and practice to create a more loving, just, and sustainable world.
We call this light before us in hope that we may always remain a strong community. May we know we are loved. May we share the love we have, and may we be the love we wish to see.
We Too, How Long We Were Fooled, by Walt Whitman. We too, how long we were fooled. Now transmuted, we swiftly escape as nature escapes. We are nature. Long have we been absent, but now we return. We become plants, trunks, foliage, roots, bark. We are bedded in the ground. We are rocks. We are oaks. We grow in the openings side by side. We browse. We are two among the wild herds, spontaneous as any. We are two fishes swimming in the sea together. We are what locust blossoms are. We drop scent around lanes, mornings and evenings. We are also the coarse smut of beasts, vegetables, minerals. We are two predatory hawks. We soar above and look down. We are two resplendent suns. We it is who balance ourselves orbic and stellar. We are as two comets. We prowl, fanged and four-footed in the woods. We spring on prey. We are two clouds, forenoons and afternoons, driving overhead. We are seas mingling. We are two of those cheerful waves rolling over each other and interwetting each other. We are what the atmosphere is, transparent, receptive, pervious, impervious. We are snow, rain, cold, darkness. We are each product and influence of the globe. We have circled and circled till we have arrived home again, we two. We have voided all but freedom and all but our own joy.
My sermon today is entitled, We Are the Blue Boat Home, a sermon for Earth Day. Back in 1964, the folk activist Pete Seeger and Lori Wyatt composed the classic, Somos el Barco, We Are the Boat. In it, Seeger sings, We are the boat, we are the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me. The stream sings it to the river sings it to the sea sings it to the boat that carries you and me. The boat that carries you and me. Right now, it surely seems that it's been caught up in a mighty storm. Pope Francis lifted up this metaphor in his Lenten homily to an empty, rain-soaked St. Peter's Square on Easter 2020. In it, he preached, we have realized that we are in the same boat, all of us fragile and disoriented, but at the same time important and needed. All of us called to row together, each of us in need of a comforting from the other. In the grip of the pandemic, the Pope preached, we have realized we cannot go on thinking only of ourselves, but that only together can we do this, can we endure. It's a fine pastoral message, and I agree with it. And as much as I appreciate the pontiff's sentiments, we're not all in the same boat, really. We've never been, even if we are all in the same storm. The blogger Daniela Ramick wisely points out, your boat could be shipwrecked and mine might not be, or vice versa. For some, quarantine seems optimal. A moment of reflection, of reconnection, taking it easy in flip-flops with a cup of coffee or a cocktail, zooming into work, still wearing your pajama bottoms, more time with your kids or your family, the great pause. For others, it has been a desperate financial, emotional, and family crisis. For some that live alone, they've been facing kind of endless and debilitating loneliness. For people on the receiving end of an oppressive society or systemic racism, the virus hasn't put us in the same boat with them, even if it maybe has raised our awareness. For some, it really has been this whole lockdown time, peace, rest, relaxation, reconnection, a good thing, a great pause. But some have experienced near death from this virus. Some have already lost somebody from it, and some are still not sure if loved ones are going to make it. We've been anxious and fearful. Others still don't believe it's a big deal and feel impervious. Go figure. Some have faith in God and expect miracles. Some show up at church, no mask or gloves, claiming to be washed in the blood of Christ. Others say God is not going to save us, and that the worst may still be yet to come. So friends, I don't want to be a downer. You know me, I try to be optimistic, but we are not all in the same boat. We have been through a time going on 15 months now, and our needs can be completely individual. And each of us will emerge in our own way from this storm. It's very important, I believe, to see beyond what is seen at first glance. Not just looking, but seeing. Not just seeing, but empathizing. So may we be especially kind to one another, look beyond our secure bubbles, if we inhabit them, and our newly vaccinated immune systems, and honor each situation and individual experience. There is one ship, though, on which we are all passengers, regardless of circumstance, race, wealth, or even location. The blue boat of this planet. Are you familiar with the famous lifeboat ethics experiment? It asks us to decide who is worth saving if there are not enough lifeboats for everybody on board. How would we decide this? How have we decided this when the passengers on the great blue boat include all living things, animals, trees, humans, rivers, glaciers? How do we decide? Who has the right to decide between a modern way of life that degrades our planet or shared sacrifices that could forestall human extinction, planetary extinction? Yes, we are the boat and we are the sea, and unless we make some impactful changes together, it will be all species and living things that go down together. However, I do believe that there has been an awakening of awareness precipitated by the coronavirus, and that may still enable us to be the blue boat home for this planet that we claim to cherish before it's too late. As the lockdown set in last spring, we witnessed an increasing attempt to portray the effects of the virus on nature as a pastoral, a return to some sort of pre-industrial Eden. No one can deny that some of us enjoyed cleaner air and clearer skies, certainly less traffic. Yet as we amaze over the sounds of birds chirping in Times Square and ooh and ah over dolphins in the Venice Canal, or coo with delight at mating pandas, the environment is not healed. The climate crisis is not reversed. Humans have not saved the day by staying home. Snookered again by Instagram, The New York Times writer Amanda Haas calls this the rise of the coronavirus nature genre. She notes, I don't know if panda sex is truly facilitated by the averting of human eyes, but I'm clinging to the idea. Humanity has been shuttered indoors, but our media feeds are overgrowing with tales of a revived natural world. Hess drives home the point. These fantasies are not about humans living in harmony with the natural world, she writes. The people who have decamped from cities into the countryside or the Red Rock, cultivating sourdough starters and leading their brood on nature walks, are eyed with suspicion. The nature images that have captured our imagination rest on total human exile. It's not a pastoral vision, it's a post-apocalyptic one. A Los Angeles article on Yosemite without visitors described the landscape as an imagined future where the artifacts of civilization remain with fewer humans in the mix. At a time when human life is at great risk, Hess tells us, it's a little disquieting for some of us to find comfort by reveling in our own obsolescence. There is a tantalizing dark escape in getting a glimpse of nature that we cannot otherwise see, because we're always out there ruining the view. Most of the people sharing photos of domineering goats and marauding boars are not expressing a latent death wish. She says that the appeal of the coronavirus nature genre is in part its subtle massaging of the human ego. It feeds the fantasy that centuries of environmental abuse can be reversed by an abbreviated period of sacrifice, even reluctant sacrifice, even forced sacrifice. With a few weeks' supply of shelf-stable food, an unhinged Netflix docuseries, we can save the planet. Not really. Hess makes it clear enough for us. We are not living in an 18th century Jane Austen garden or the treehouse of the Swiss Family Robinson. And like Hess, other keen observers are already warning us about the, quote, great gaslighting that will emerge when we are released from lockdown and can resume more of our normal activities. What is gaslighting? Maybe you've heard of it. It's a psychological manipulation, a method of making us believe that what we believe is false, even that our feelings are false. Just gaslighting. It comes from a famous movie. No, you didn't see that. No, that's not what happened. No, our way of life will not lead to human extinction. We are not to blame. The great marketing machine that stokes the American consumer appetite will crank up again to make us feel good about getting back to what was. But we must resist that. The new normal post-pandemic could not be just a slightly greener version of the old normal. In an essay for the blog Medium, Julio Vicente Gambuto observes that the curtain is wide open. At no other time have we had the opportunity to see what would happen if the world simply stopped. And if you're like me, he continues, you're scared, confused, and heartbroken. And what a perfect time for Walmart to help us feel safe again. Gambuto warns us that what will be unleashed will be a gaslighting blitz to make us believe that we didn't experience what we experienced. The air wasn't really cleaner. Those images were fake. The hospitals weren't really war zones. Those stories were hyped. You didn't see people in masks waiting in the rain to vote, not in America. You didn't see indifference or the utter failure of leadership in the White House. Fake news. Consider this. An image I saw depicting an activist at the White House holding up a banner emblazoned with this astute message: the normal is the virus. Gambuto implores us, from one citizen to another, I beg of you, take a deep breath, ignore the deafening jingles, and think deeply about what you want to put back into your life, your world, this planet. The Pope chimes in here too, preaching that the storm exposes our vulnerability and uncovers those false and superfluous certainties around which we have constructed our daily schedules, our habits, and our priorities. And he admirably condemns the way humanity has treated the environment, taking it for granted and seeking greed rather than justice. We carried on regardless, thinking we could stay healthy in a world that was sick, he preached. The Pope's blunt declaration, brave and unique, I would say, is all the more potent given the hubris in the Judeo-Christian tradition regarding our relationship to the natural world. Open Hebrew scripture, and in Genesis 1 through 25, Yahweh creates the heavens and earth, the water, the light, and all living creatures. It's a lovely world, one in harmony with itself. Then, in verse 26 of chapter 1 of Genesis, he creates humankind and says, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over the cattle and over all the wild animals of the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. He goes on to encourage Adam to fill the earth and subdue it. He tells Adam, look what I have given you to rule over. Every green plant, every beast, every bird, everything that has the breath of life. Perhaps Yahweh might have stopped for a period of reflection at verse 25. For consider how far we've drifted from a place of balance with nature, from reverence and respect for the air, the bud, the river, the things that creep upon the soil. Even before the virus, we've been in a kind of self-imposed quarantine from right relationship to the earth. Did you know that the word quarantine is from a Venetian word meaning 40 days, originating during the Black Death epidemic as the amount of time a ship's crew needed to wait before going ashore? The term holds biblical roots as well as part of the Mosaic law in Leviticus, although the terms for quarantine is 7 days. From a religious perspective, the number 40 is a familiar and significant one, the duration of Lent and the time that Jesus spent fasting in the desert. 40 years, the duration Moses and the Israelites wandered in punishment, making their way to the promised land. Is it a coincidence? We are still in the desert right now, perhaps not as deeply in, but still in. And it's been more than 400 days since we began this pandemic experience. What have we learned about our footprint on the planet, our role in the imbalance that contributed to this crisis, our place in the ecosystem during this bewildering time of wandering around our living rooms and meandering through the landscape of values and hopes? Are we willing to make amends to the earth? To repent? It's a word that's very hard for liberals to hear, but apt nonetheless. What constitutes a promised land for our planet, a place in harmony, our country, or your Red Rock town? To be clear, it's not what we have been promised. It's what we will promise to one another and to future generations. After the coronavirus truly abates, we need to rebuild and reinvest wisely. We cannot pretend that the mega drought predicted for the Southwest will not happen. We cannot ignore the food crisis that looms, the irreversible devastation of deforestation or disappearing glaciers. We can support a younger generation of activists like Greta Thunberg and youth-led grassroots groups like 0 Hour who will inherit this mess. We can support candidates and legislation that tackle climate change and environmental standards so that a failure to do so does not threaten our planet for centuries, not days or weeks or months, mind you, but centuries. We seem to be on a good track right now with our new administration rejoining the Paris Climate Accord and taking this topic very, very seriously. Dennis Hayes, who founded Earth Day 51 years ago, rallies us to the cause, writing in the Seattle Times last April. COVID-19 robbed us of Earth Day this year, so let's make Election Day Earth Day. Vote for the Earth. So remember that during the next election cycle. Look at how the candidates who are running present themselves around the issue of environmental preservation, climate change. Through the earth and our willingness to love it and learn from it, we become aware of our deep spiritual and energetic connection to all life, all beings, and how our action or inaction sets the great interdependent web a-tremble. As Walt Whitman reminds us, we are nature. We are what the atmosphere is, transparent, receptive, pervious, and impervious. We are snow, rain, cold, darkness. We are each product and influence of the globe. We can pledge our allegiance to something bigger than recycling, reusable shopping bags, or composting, all worthy practices, but not enough to prevent our extinction. The water is wide, friends, but take heart. We are the boat. We are the sea. I sail in you. You sail in me. So may we pledge allegiance to the earth itself, feel the sea flowing in our veins, and row our beloved blue boat out of the tempest and home together. So may it be. Blessed be, blessed we, blessed ancient mother, blessed Gaia, and amen.
Litany for Those Lost to Climate Change by Erica Barron. We take the time to acknowledge all those already lost as the world feels the effects of global warming and climate change. Thousands of people, as well as animals and plants, die every year from the effects of global climate change. As we acknowledge these lost, please respond with, "We remember you." To all those people lost to extreme heat waves,
we remember you.
To all those people lost to floods, hurricanes, mudslides, and other disasters caused by changing weather patterns,
we remember you.
To all those people lost to hunger as crop patterns change,
we remember you.
To all those people lost to drought as weather patterns change,
we remember you.
To all those people lost to disease as the environment shifts,
we remember you.
To all those animals, siblings of flesh and blood, breath and bone, whose lives have been lost as global climates change,
we remember you.
To all those plant spirits, siblings of the green world, whose lives have been lost as global climates change,
we remember you.
To all those species lost forever as global climate changes,
we remember you.
we remember you, and we commit ourselves to restoring balance. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Now is the time for silent meditation.
In gratitude of our many blessings and many needs, this morning's offering for this community will now be received.
Asiti ngonyama ngonyama ewebo ababa ngonyama baba ngonyama bagi
I pledge allegiance to the earth and all life, the fields and streams, the mountains and seas, the forests and deserts, the air and soil, all species and reserves, habitats and environments. One world, one creation, one home, indivisible for all, affected by pollution anywhere, depleted by any waste, endangered by greedy consumption, degradation by faithlessness, preserved by recycling, conservation, and reverence, the great gift renewed for all generations to come, protected, preserved by reducing, reusing, recycling, with conservation and reverence, the great gift renewed for all generations to come.
Hey yana ho yana hey yana, hey yana ho yana hey yana, hey yana ho yana hey yana, hey yana ho yana hey yana. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. With every step we take. Hey yana ho yana hey yan yan, hey yana ho yana hey yan yan, hey yana ho yana hey yan yan, hey yana ho yana hey yan yan. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. We must take care of her. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. With every step we take. The earth is our mother, the earth is our mother, the earth is our mother, the earth is our mother. Hey yana ho yana hey yan yan, hey yana ho yana hey yan yan, hey yana ho yana hey yan yan, hey yana ho yana hey yan yan. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. We must take care of her. Sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. With every step we take. Hey, We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this space. May it guide your way until we are together again.